In this video, we'll be taking a look at 4 NBA games happening on February 12, 2025, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 8 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 4 NBA games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Atlanta Hawks versus New York Knicks. An exciting Eastern Conference showdown is set to take place on the hardwood in the Big Apple as the Atlanta Hawks face off against the New York Knicks on Wednesday night. The Hawks are coming off a hard-fought 112-106 road victory over the Orlando Magic on Monday night, where they defied the odds as 6.5-point underdogs. Meanwhile, the Knicks were in action on the road against the Indiana Pacers on Tuesday night, marking the first game of a back-to-back set. In their last outing, New York suffered a disappointing 131-104 loss at home to the Boston Celtics on Saturday, failing to cover the spread as 3-point underdogs. Historically, the Hawks hold a slight edge in the regular season series, leading 203-191 overall. This season, Atlanta has won 2 of the 3 matchups, though the Knicks secured a 119-110 home victory in their most recent encounter on January 20th. Both teams are dealing with key absences as the Hawks remain without Larry Nance Jr. and Jalen Johnson, while the Knicks continue to miss the services of Og Anunoby. The stage is set for another thrilling matchup as Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks make their way to Madison Square Garden for a highly anticipated clash with the Knicks. This game marks the 4th meeting between the two teams this season, with the Hawks currently holding a 2-1 advantage in the regular season series. After enduring a challenging 8-game losing streak, largely due to injuries, Atlanta has bounced back with 4 wins in their last 5 games, including victories over some formidable opponents. The primary focus heading into this contest will be the status of Trae Young, who is listed as questionable due to an Achilles injury. Despite this, Young has played through similar concerns in recent games, and there's little doubt he'll push through to take the court in front of one of the most hostile crowds in the NBA, Madison Square Garden, where he's often met with disdain from Knicks fans. For the Knicks, this game represents the second night of a back-to-back following a crucial road win against the Indiana Pacers on Tuesday. Karl Anthony Towns and Josh Hart delivered standout performances, scoring 40 and 30 points respectively, which helped offset an off night for Jalen Brunson, who managed just 8 points on 4 for 1-1 shooting. Brunson could be poised for a bounce-back performance, as the last time he faced the Hawks, he erupted for 34 points and 6 assists. The absence of Jalen Johnson, a versatile wing for Atlanta, could leave the Hawks vulnerable on defense, and Brunson will look to capitalize on that. New York has been in strong form lately, winning 8 of their last 10 games and securing victories in 5 of their last 6 matchups against Eastern Conference opponents. This game serves as a test of resilience for the Knicks, who are playing their second game in as many nights. While Atlanta is dealing with more injuries, the extra day of rest levels the playing field somewhat. Trae Young has historically performed well against the Knicks, averaging 21 points and 11.2 assists per game over their last 5 meetings. It remains to be seen how Knicks head coach Tom Thibodeau will manage his rotation, especially with several players not at full strength. Conventional wisdom might suggest reducing the workload for key players or even resting them to ensure they're fresh for the postseason push. However, given Thibodeau's tendencies, it's equally possible that players like Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson could log heavy minutes, potentially playing close to 45 minutes each. On the other hand, the Hawks had Tuesday off and are riding a wave of momentum with 3 consecutive wins. The Knicks are back in form and could very well dominate at home, but the Hawks have been on a roll themselves, winning 3 straight games and covering the spread in 6 consecutive outings. Trae Young has a knack for delivering standout performances at Madison Square Garden, and the Hawks have won 3 of their last 4 games against the Knicks overall. Additionally, the underdog has covered the spread in 5 of the last 7 matchups between these two teams, and the Hawks have covered in 7 of their last 8 games as underdogs. While the Knicks open as clear favorites at home, having won 8 of their last 10 games, the fact that they're playing on 0 days of rest tilts the scales in favor of the Hawks. Atlanta can always rely on Trae Trae Young to rise to the occasion at Madison Square Garden, even in front of a loud and hostile crowd. So the Atlanta Hawks to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. The Knicks will be playing their second game in as many nights after facing the Pacers on Tuesday, while this will be the third game for Atlanta's 4 newly acquired players. Georges Niang made his way into the starting lineup on Saturday and provided a significant scoring boost with 16 points. However, the Hawks' primary concern remains their defense, particularly in the early stages of games. They currently rank third in the league for most first-quarter points allowed per game. Additionally, Atlanta averages nearly 16 turnovers per game, which could lead to plenty of easy scoring opportunities for the Knicks. New York is one of the most efficient offensive teams in the league, shooting 37.5% from beyond the arc, the 6th best mark in the NBA. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. Philadelphia 76ers versus Brooklyn Nets. The Philadelphia 76ers are set to face off against the Brooklyn Nets in a divisional matchup on Wednesday evening. The 76ers are coming off a road loss to the Milwaukee Bucks on Sunday and will be hosting the Toronto Raptors on Tuesday before this game. Meanwhile, the Nets are entering this contest fresh off a victory against the Charlotte Hornets on Tuesday. Heading into this matchup, the 76ers hold a 2-0 advantage in the season series against the Nets. The 76ers continue to deal with absences as Eric Gordon and Kyle Lowry remain ruled out for this game. On the other side, the Nets are monitoring Nick Claxton, who is listed as questionable due to a right ankle sprain. Philadelphia has been struggling significantly in recent games, posting a 1-5 record over their last 6 outings. During this stretch, they have not been competitive in their losses and have failed to cover the spread in 4 consecutive games. In contrast, the Brooklyn Nets have been performing well, winning 5 of their last 6 games, including impressive victories against the Houston Rockets and Miami Heat. Defensively, the 76ers have been facing major challenges, allowing an average of 120 points in their past 5 games. On the other hand, the Nets have been showcasing their best defensive performances of the season, holding their opponents to 98 points or fewer in 4 of their last 5 games. Additionally, 4 of the 76ers' last 6 losses have been by margins of 8 points or more, highlighting their recent struggles. While the 76ers may appear tempting as slight favorites due to their clear talent advantage when comparing the 2 rosters, the Nets enter this matchup as the team in better form. Furthermore, the 76ers will be playing on 0 days of rest, which could impact their performance. So the Brooklyn Nets to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Both teams rank in the bottom 10 in terms of pace of play, and their offenses have consistently been among the least productive in the league for much of the season. The Hornets, in particular, have struggled with ball security, leading to multiple dead possessions per game. Additionally, the 76ers' inability to generate second chance points will likely result in single-shot trips up the court. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. Detroit Pistons versus Chicago Bulls. The Detroit Pistons, who currently hold a 27-26 record and are positioned 6th in the Eastern Conference, are scheduled to compete against the Chicago Bulls, who have a 22-31 record and are ranked 10th in the Eastern Conference. This matchup is set to take place on February 12th at the United Center. The Pistons are entering this game with momentum, having secured a 2-game winning streak, including a recent 112-102 victory at home against the Charlotte Hornets on Sunday. On the other hand, the Bulls are struggling, having lost their last 2 games, with their most recent defeat being a 132-111 loss at home to the Golden State Warriors on Saturday. This game marks the 4th and final regular season encounter between these 2 teams, with each team having won one of the first 2 games and another game scheduled for Tuesday. The Pistons will continue to be without Jaden Ivey for this game, while the Bulls remain without Lonzo Ball, who is currently sidelined due to an illness. It is always challenging to defeat the same team consecutively, especially on their home court, but the Pistons are considered strong favorites following their dominant performance against the Bulls in their previous meeting. While the Bulls are expected to come out with heightened intensity after their recent disappointing loss, their offensive capabilities are limited without Ball, who remains unavailable due to illness. The question remains, how much of an impact will a single day have on the outcome of this game? In this case, it is unlikely to make a significant difference. The Bulls have suffered 3 consecutive losses, each by a margin of at least 19 points. Meanwhile, the Pistons have already defeated the Bulls twice this month, with victories by 8 points and 40 points, respectively. The disparity between these teams is further highlighted by their net ratings. The Pistons rank 16th in the league with a -0.4 net net rating, while the Bulls are 23rd with a -3.9 net rating. A key factor in this matchup is the ability to defend the paint, where there is a notable gap. The Pistons rank 4th in the league, allowing only 45.7 opposing points in the paint per game, whereas the Bulls are last in the league, giving up 55.5 points in the paint per game. In their most recent game against the Bulls, the Pistons secured a commanding 40-point victory. At halftime, the Pistons led 71-29, and the Bulls struggled immensely, missing 24 of their first 25 three-point attempts. This performance was an embarrassing display, even by NBA standards. While the Bulls are expected to show more effort in this rematch, it is still difficult to defeat the same team twice in such a short span, regardless of the talent gap. Given the Pistons' recent dominance, it is hard to justify backing the Bulls in this scenario. As previously mentioned, the Pistons must capitalize on games like this if they hope to secure a playoff spot. The Bulls have struggled recently, with a 3-7 record both straight up and against the spread in their last 7 games. With this being the final game before the All-Star break, expectations are that the Bulls will underperform once again, likely losing by double digits. Meanwhile, the Pistons are expected to be highly motivated to conclude the first half of the season on a positive note, so the Detroit Pistons to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. In the last 10 head-to-head matchups between these teams, only one game has exceeded 234 points. Given the Bulls' recent offensive struggles, including scoring just 29 points in the first half on Tuesday and failing to reach 112 points in their last 3 games, it is difficult to trust their ability to contribute to a high-scoring game. Chicago's offense is likely to continue struggling against a Pistons defense that has allowed an average of only 102 points over its last 3 games. As a result, the projected total for this game appears to be set too high. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. Sacramento Kings versus New Orleans Pelicans. The Sacramento Kings are set to face the New Orleans Pelicans in a Western Conference matchup at the Smoothie King Center on Wednesday evening. The Kings currently hold the 9th spot in the West with a 27-26 record and are entering this game fresh off a 123-118 home victory against the Pelicans on Saturday. On the other hand, the Pelicans are struggling in 15th place in the West with a 12-41 record and are riding a 3-game losing streak, including their recent 123-118 road loss to the Kings. This upcoming game marks the 3rd encounter between the two teams this season, with the Kings having secured victories in the first 2 matchups. The 4th and final game of their series is yet to come. The Kings are heading into this game with a fully healthy roster, while the Pelicans are dealing with significant injury concerns. DeJounte Murray has been ruled out for the Pelicans, and C.J. McCollum is listed as questionable. Despite the Kings' recent struggles to perform at their peak, they gained a boost of confidence from their thrilling overtime win against the Mavericks on Monday. Meanwhile, the Pelicans' struggles continue as they suffered their 9th consecutive loss, most recently falling to the Thunder in a lopsided defeat. The disparity between the two teams is evident in their net ratings. The Kings rank 12th in the NBA with a 1 net rating, while the Pelicans sit near the bottom of the league at 29th with a -9.1 net rating. Defensively, the two teams are on completely different levels. Over their last 4 games, the Kings have allowed an average of 117.5 points, while the Pelicans have given up a staggering 129 points in their previous 5 outings. The Sacramento Kings have been underperforming relative to expectations this season, but their recent overtime victory over the Mavericks could potentially serve as a turning point. In contrast, the New Orleans Pelicans continue to struggle, failing to secure wins or cover spreads. Their lengthy injury report further complicates matters, making it difficult to take them seriously as a competitive team. The Pelicans haven't won a game since January 20th and hold a disappointing 21-31-1 record against the spread this season. For the Kings, games against struggling teams like the Pelicans are crucial opportunities to gain ground in the standings. Having already defeated the Pelicans by 5 points last week, the Kings appear to have a favorable matchup. The current line feels soft, and given the Pelicans' poor performance, the Kings should capitalize on this situation. So the Sacramento Kings to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Both teams have struggled defensively when it comes to limiting their opponents' three-point shooting. The Kings rank 29th in the NBA, allowing opponents to shoot 37.8% from beyond the arc, while the Pelicans are slightly better but still poor, ranking 22nd with a 36.7% opposing three-point percentage. Additionally, both teams have played at a fast pace this season. The Kings rank 10th in the league with a pace of 100.11, and the Pelicans are close behind at 12th with a pace of 100.06. High-scoring games have been a recent trend for both teams. 5 of the Kings' last 6 games have gone over the total, and the same is true for the Pelicans, with 5 of their previous 6 contests also exceeding the total. This trend was evident in their most recent matchup on Saturday, and it is likely to continue in this week's game. The Kings rank 20th in defensive rating and have allowed the Pelicans to shoot 47.4% from the field in their matchups. Meanwhile, the Pelicans are last in defensive rating, and even if the Kings miss their initial shots, they have shown the ability to dominate the offensive glass. In the first 2 games between these teams, the Kings grabbed a combined 28 offensive rebounds. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.